Well, it
and it's
is.
like,
And I think it's also one of those things where you look at it and go, in this case, in this department, and I'm sure it's happening in many, many, many more departments, where you got the one bad one, and maybe he was brought in by another bad one. It's like, hey, you want to do a job over here? This will be good for you, And it's just kind of like accepted that there's this, we have this extra power over everybody, and the bar just keeps going because nothing gets questioned here, nothing gets questioned there. You get away with this, you get away with that. There's no accountability, and if you're a really deplorable, horrible human being, there's really not an end to your depravity of where you can go. And I think you start getting that, and then you start getting other people who are also as depraved and like, yeah, I did this and whatever. I don't know how these people talk to each other.
I don't, it's
I can't
insane.
imagine where it's like you're sitting down for a beer and it's like, hey, that 15-year-old or that 12-year-old, like, how the fuck does it even? How do you even talk about shit like this?
I don't know.
However they're doing it, however they communicate in pedoland, um, it happens, and then more find out about it. And it becomes like bees to honey. Like, oh, I could do that job because I can have access to this, and then they just get into that job to have access to those sort of perks, if you
The
will,
power, that
the power
power,
and the perks.
the
Yeah,
ungodly power that they have is
I know.
terrifying,
And
man.
then you have a whole ecosystem that starts working around it. Like in this case, you have the dispatcher who one of the friends called. She's person number 5 in the affidavit. And person 2 is the friend of Birchmore saying, hey, there's something going on here with this officer and a friend of mine who's a child. Maybe you should look into that, please. And they don't, and that dispatcher, it's not going through their mind of, oh, I should go to HR, or I should go to commander or somebody who's higher up. No, they take it directly to Farwell and go, hey, we got this call here. What do you think of this? Don't say anything about it. And then she's dead the next month. Uh, so, I mean, it just shows that is that dispatcher, an evil human being? Is that dispatcher someone who's out there doing horrible things to kids? No, probably not. But they know how that ecosystem works. And that ecosystem says, just go talk to him about it. We get complaints all the time, and they do. The cops do get complaints all the time, and a lot of them are frivolous. But they're at a point where you can't just ignore things like this, but they have a culture of ignoring things like this. Why? Because there's no repercussions if you don't.
I mean, that's it. I mean, that's like the word is culture. I mean,
Yeah.
that culture of police departments that, I mean, I'm covering this thing with an old Chicago cop, retired, run out of the country because he was a whistleblower of this cop in Chicago, which this story has not like made it out to the world yet, but it's insane. This guy put 57 innocent like innocent men and one woman in prison on murder charges. I don't know if I've told you about
You
this. It's
mentioned
like
it the other day when we were talking
it
off the
blows my
air. Yeah.
mind. It's
Yeah.
like it's like, and it was this Area 5 in Chicago Police
Yeah.
Department. You're talking about the culture of it, and like to go exactly to what you're saying. Like when Bill Dorsch figured out what was going on, when he sees this cop Rinaldo Guevara take one of his CIs, his confidential informants, and he's using him as an eyewitness in a case he's just trying to close, a murder. And the kid's like, points at the wrong picture. The cop turns the book around. He points and he says, "This is the guy you meant, right?" And Dorsch is standing there. Dorsch is like, "What? What just happened?" Like Dorsch is like a legitimately good cop.
Yeah.
So he goes to his superiors, and they're like, "Bill, we just need to close the case. Shut the hell up. What do you care?" And like at that point, moving forward for Dorsch, it was like he was done. Like he's like, I can't be a part of this culture. And he's been advocating. 44 of these people have been exonerated, man. It's like it's an unbelievable story, and
Yeah.
it's probably the worst case of corruption that I've seen in terms of the number. But man, it's like you said, have we finally gotten to the point where it's not going to be ignored anymore?
I would hope
I mean,
so.
are we
Yeah.
there? I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
I
I
don't
think
know.
we got to stop using the term bad apple because I think it's more like bad orchards. Like,
Right,
like there's some bad trees can still produce a couple decent apples.
right.
But these trees need to be cut down and replanted.
Yeah, right.
And that's what needs to happen in some of these places, especially the departments that just refuse to take any accountability. It seems the attitude is typically, Okay, now we're going to act like we really, really care about this because we have to, because there's a spotlight on it. There was a civil case and the feds are involved. Had none of those things happened, nothing would have happened here. He'd still be on the force. Everything would be fine
100%.
and dandy. But because somebody
100%.
finally shone a light on it, oh, we're on this. We're going to take this serious. What else have you not taken seriously? What
Right.
else has been bastardized because you wanted to close a case or whatever reason you may have had? Because
Yeah.
there's decades of this going back, and we'll never know the truth in some of it. But that's where there is just such corruption in some of these departments. And again, I'm not saying everybody. I have family members who are police. The good ones are good ones, but these departments need to stop just stepping back and saying, "Oh, we'll take care of that. We'll investigate it ourselves. We'll get," because they don't get it corrected. Then it
You
happens again.
can't.
It
Dude, the amount, and it really boils down to this, it's the amount of power that they have individually.
mhm.
And I'm talking about just a regular old beat cop with
Yeah.
that gun and that badge. Like I said in the very beginning, can alter a person's life irreparably in the blink of an eye.
Mhm.
And like you have to be able to trust these people. To me, it goes back to the hiring process. It goes to, are these, every single cop that is put into that position where they're given that enormous
Mhm.
power has to go through just the most rigorous psychological testing available to
Mhm.
us. And I look, I realize we know very little about the human mind. Like that's just facts. We
Mhm.
just don't know. It's like we use 10% of the thing. Like our brain is just sitting up there and we really don't know. Like the psychology and the psychopathy of what goes on in people's minds and what causes them to do evil things or have no remorse or be able like if I tell like a lie, I feel like insanely guilty.
Mhm.
Like that's obviously just built into my DNA.
Sure.
I don't, you know what I mean? And like some people are just broken.
They don't have that. Yeah.
They don't have that. They don't have that capability. So I like
Well,
it's got to go to the hiring process,
well,
man. It's got to start there.
hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.